And those kinds of clients, it's not such a niche because their problems overlap into many, many practice areas. It could be tax, it could be corporate, it could be business, it could be labor, you know, so that it's kind of a one-stop shop. And what you find, I think, is if you try to do it boutique in at least some areas, it's just not going to be successful because they're going to want to go, you know, where they have one big relationship and it's much easier to get the work done.
And I wanted to just share my route with you all because it hasn't been that conventional. I worked first for a large firm, very large, over about 150 lawyers, then left with one of the partners there when she left and worked for a very small husband and wife firm. And then I worked for a mid-sized firm, now I have my own. And along that way I developed business. But my route I chose was to really because I wanted to be family friendly with my work and my life and balance that. So when I worked for the large firm, I had been placed in the professional employment committee and could see that a route for a woman who wanted a different kind of path was not going to be that easy at that point in time. And we're going back 20 years ago when I first started practicing law. And so when this other partner left, she used to wait at the elevator bank every day at 2:30 to go pick up her kids at school with her purse hanging on her arm, and then she would come back, finish out whatever she had for the day, and she left and offered me a job. And I thought, now that's where I want to go, if I want to be able to get my kids from school in the afternoon and that kind of thing. So when we worked together, I had my first child, and we discussed my desire to be home some more with my kids, and I started working till 3 o'clock. And so from the time that my first child was born, she's now 15, until just a few years ago, I worked every day until 3 o'clock. And there were some days, of course, because I do have a trial litigation practice, that I would have to alter that, or I would have to check email late at night when I had California clients or different things. But for the most part, it always worked out that I'd get the kids at 3, we'd do our afternoon stuff, and that was just my schedule. They got a little bit older, and I worked for a medium-sized firm and went back to working full days. And then just in January left with 4 women, other women, and we have 4 women partners and 1 man. And we started our own firm, and in our firm we have 27 employees and 21 of them are female. And it just happened that way. We just chose the people that we thought were best to come with us, and we ended up very women-heavy, and one of our goals is to be able to balance family and work and do it successfully. And just to tie that into where the money is, someone on the last panel said something about, you know, not having to go out and affirmatively market, and that in part is true. I mean, if you do really good work, the work will follow you, and people will give your name to other contacts of theirs, and the work will grow. And I think the key there is to be super responsive. I mean, clients want lawyers who are very responsive and make their jobs easier. And if you can make their job easier, they keep coming back to you, really. And because now that I've been doing this so long, a lot of my clients are women. And they have the same conflicts that I do. And they want to be able to get home to the soccer game, and they want to be, and they don't want me to take them on a weekend, you know, fishing trip or a golf trip or something. And even now the men don't even really want that. We had a meeting very recently at ConocoPhillips with the guy who's head of litigation, and we said, look, if you're looking for somebody to take you on that fishing trip on that golf weekend, we're not your girls. We, you know, that's not what we do. And he said, thank you for that, because I don't want to do it. You know, in my free time, I want to be with my family too, and I just want to choose lawyers who do good work for me. So I guess my, you know, in short, my pointers are do good work, be responsive, and you do have to put yourself out there. I'm a member of the IADC, which is the International Association of Defense Counsel, and in that I'm active, and probably a lot of you are members of the DRI or other organizations, and those are great, but you need to find yourself a niche in there to get your name out as well in those organizations.
Well, I guess a great follow-up question to that would be, does the panel have any tips for the solo practitioner as well as the female who's working in a big firm?
I think that what Leanne says applies also to solo practitioners, and that is you fundamentally always do for the work. Most of my work comes from referrals from other clients and other lawyers. If your client is satisfied with your work product and the opportunity comes for them to recommend you, they will. And that same is also true for other lawyers. I think that one of the things that is probably similar for all of us is that, you know, marketing yourself comes in a variety of ways, but it is the same in that you want people to know your name, you want people to know the quality of your work and the kind of work you do. As a sole practitioner, I can't provide to my clients what Donna and can provide to their clients. And I think one of the keys for a sole practitioner is to understand you do not have to take every case that walks in the door. You can't take every case that walks in the door because you cannot be competent at everything. You have to recognize your strengths and you have to recognize, more importantly, your weaknesses. And one of the things that I think personally is critical is if you get a call from a person who is interested in retaining you and gives you a scenario that you know right off the bat, oh no, not me, can't do it. To refer that person to a qualified, knowledgeable lawyer in that field is a plus in your cap. Clients remember that, people remember that, and they are appreciative of that. Another way that I think is probably similar for all of us, and that is the opportunity to take speaking engagements in the field of law that you practice in, being participants in your local and state bar associations and national bar associations in those areas that you want to cultivate, that you want to develop an expertise or you have an interest in. And it's, like Leanne said, it's finding out what that is. And sometimes you have to reinvent that if things, you know, don't work out. But it's a learning curve. And it's a learning curve, I think, probably for all of us.
I would just I think echo Peggy's saying in that your reputation is the accumulation of what you've done. And that when you're starting out, you may not see the benefit of some of the things that you do or you think you should do. I can remember in early years, you know, giving lectures, you know, even if, you know, I had to learn the area after I agreed to give the lecture, but to do those kinds of things that cumulatively build a body of, you know, who you are and what you know, so that it either impacts potential clients that would refer to you or referral sources, other lawyers, if you lecture to other lawyers. Often now, you know, when you get older and more established, you know, there often is a back down in terms of lecturing other lawyers. But on the other hand, there is, goes hand in hand some responsibility to help mentor other people going forward. I agree with Peggy, know your practice area. If you know your practice area, you're good in your practice area, you get your name out, you're good in that practice area, then that says a lot about you. I think you can read what your clients read. You know, find either trade journals or other kinds of either journals, magazines, books, but you know, learn what your client's business is about. In addition to complaints that clients have about not returning phone calls or not knowing what their lawyer's doing on an ongoing basis, one of the things clients say is they don't really understand my business. So you ought to understand your client's business and the pressures that are on your clients so that you can attend meetings that they would be in attendance at as well. I'll just touch on community involvement because we heard a whole session on that. But I think that community involvement is very significant, not just for the rewards that you can get. Mary Ellen North just mentioned that you can get beat up at work, but you can go join these organizations and have the organizations. You can grow in those organizations, get positive feedback in them. They're very rewarding, so that you can grow by being involved in that. But you also meet people, and when you meet people that are involved in the community, that offers you often opportunities, or at least get your name out again. What I didn't hear mentioned yet is political involvement. And I know everybody up here has been involved very much in politics.